Hey guys, it's Robert, the old ageless wanderer. Hey, just hadn't had a chance to visit with y'all in a while, so thought I'd head out to the boat and just kind of do a little review of maybe some things that went well and some things that I can do better for the next trip. And might as well tell you right now, there is going to be a next trip. Steve Herndon and I are going to try to break the Great Loop overall record. We're going to shoot break 12 days. I'd like to see us get closer to 10. I think it's reasonable. So you'll be learning more about that. We've already started building the new boat, and Well Built is going to be involved a lot with the build, and they're going to actually manufacture the boat. And Tohatsu's all on board again. We're going to be running the MFS 140 outboard. Should push the new boat, which is going to be 23 feet long. So it's going to be a big boat, 70 inches wide. We should be going in excess of 45, maybe closer to 50 miles per hour next year. I'm really excited about this new boat that we've got going. It's going to have center console and it's going to have a sleeper on board. So Steve and I can take breaks and actually get in a weather resistant sleeping quarters that should be very comfortable. Let's see. So today's video, we're going to talk about the boat and things that went well. So let's kind of walk around it here. Uh, I guess I'll just start with the waterproof charging station. The waterproof charging station has power coming in from the breaker box, and I can set anything in here, and I've got charge cables for different devices, and it really makes it convenient for keeping the cell phone up, and also like the inReach and those kind of things. It's super convenient. um, I also keep my horn and things I don't want getting salt water on it. This is one of the best things I did right and have been doing right for a while. This is a electric inflator for my air mattress. It just gets that air mattress blown up real quick. And same thing with deflating. I just put it on there and reverse the fan, and it deflates my sleeping pad very quickly. This was the AIS antenna. Um, I enjoyed having the AIS, but was it critical? No. And the AIS will not be on next year's boat, just because I'm going to try to keep systems just as simple as possible. No autopilot, no AIS. Many of you know the autopilot worked perfectly on that 400-mile Gulf crossing, but I ended up hitting some riprap off the coast there between Stewart, Florida, and Cape Canaveral, and took a pretty big motor hit, and it damaged uh, my autopilot. So I'm just going to skip that. I don't need that kind of grief. We're just going to keep it simple. Um, then the fuel distribution system worked great. I could switch sides of tanks I'm using by using this switch, and just cut one side off and then open the other side right here. And but that works great. We did have a fuel separator right here. Get over here, and that fuel water separator fuel filter went out on me, caused some issues. I ended up just taking it out and then just moving the bulb straight to the input, and that solved all of my fuel issues that we were having that occurred around Grafton. Now the Daihatsu 60, man, this thing was a trooper. Uh, Covered 5,000 miles and didn't miss a beat. We did one oil change up in New York, and I'm now convinced that that Daihatsu oil, that blended oil, helps it keep the temperatures right, and I will stay with the Daihatsu blended oil. Let's see. I guess the next thing that went right, I Added the running light on top of the motor. I know it's kind of quasi-legal just because it doesn't get over my head, but worked great for me. No one called me on it. I have a separate light that I plug into one of my charge ports that I run for an anchor light, and that worked good. And I will continue that because I can just hook it with Velcro to my bimini when the bimini's up. Let's see, the bilge pumps all worked good. Man, I was out in the Atlantic Ocean and those big waves, and I mean, I had all three of these bilge pumps running on the auto switches. And the only thing I'm going to do different on this new bigger boat is we're going to have new bigger bilge pumps. I'm going to run a one that's about 3 times the size of these, and then I'm going to have one or two more that are around 2,000. So I'll have way more capacity for pumping bilge. I'm just going to be a bigger boat, more potential to take a bigger wave over the side if we get stuck in a storm. So I want lots of bilge pumping capacity. Again, I hope I don't encounter those conditions, but you got to be prepared for a worst case scenario. Um, you may not see it from the camera right there, but my NEMA 2000 backbone I had located right here on my transom, that failed me. Just it was getting just a lot of salt spray on the NEMA system, and I had some moisture incursion into the wires, and it basically just shut down my NEMA system. I could no longer read. I guess after about the third or fourth day, I couldn't read my fuel economy or burn rate or miles per gallon. A lot of that stuff I really like to see. I lost my electronic remote compass, and just everything related to NEMA went out. How we're going to solve that problem next year is this NEMA backbone is going to be in the center console we're going to have and not exposed to salt water as much. Yeah, we're going to make that change. Um, Next thing is my battery. I've been running the anti-gravity lithium battery. I'm looking at running a Redodo 100 amp just because we're going to run some great big lights. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. Um, and I need more capacity to be able to manage those lights safely and not overheat my alternator. So, but the lithium battery worked great, and unless the hot seat just totally overrules me, I'm going to run that Redodo lithium ferrous battery 100 amp. It does have a restart feature also, which I really like on my anti-gravity. Um, on this boat, I have all of my fuses and uh, circuits all running to the battery box. So if I needed to check a fuse, I could just take the top off of it. And in this situation, having the fuses in the battery box worked great because nothing could get to it. I run my battery box well above floor level, so if the water gets deep in the boat, it can't get to my battery, and that's worked out really well. Talking about something that's worked well, I love Millennium seats. They keep you dry. The water can run right through it. They don't seem to collect dew. And the only problem I had is when I got out in those great big seas, I'm talking, 9, 10 foot plus seas. As I would top a wave, sometimes it'd just fall out from under me. And I took a big drop and I just hit this with no telling how many G's. Probably my effective weight was at least 1,000 pounds, and I just punched right through the fabric. And so at Jacksonville, we picked up a new Millennium seat at a Academy Surplus, Academy Sports and Outdoor, I think they call it now. This isn't the saltwater version and is not adjustable like the one I had, but it worked out great. It's got a little rust on some of the fasteners, but it served me well during the trip, and I will stay with Millennium seats. Probably go with the Millennium Saltwater Pro seat. It's a little more expensive, but I really liked that I didn't have any rust or anything on it, and that served me well, both on the inside passage run, several thousand miles, as well as the first couple of days of the trip. And I'm just not going to get myself in those kind of conditions, I hope. Uh, Below the seat, I have the Springfield suspension, and the Springfield suspension seat has worked well. Um, it's been with me through the Arctic, through the inside passage, and on the Great Loop. Probably going to go ahead and replace it with brand new ones, just because that's a lot of wear on those springs and everything, and I think they're not after that much, 10,000 miles. I think I just want to go ahead and replace them. So what I do with my breakers are in a breaker box. Let's see if I can get you a view here. It's right under this cover. I leave this cover on there so saltwater spray couldn't get to my switches, and that worked out like a champ. But I use some of these waterproof connectors on some of my wiring. That did not work out worth a hoot. It's the ones that you put on there and you take a match or a heat source of some type, and it's supposed to cause waterproof seals and solder the joint. Let me tell you, that didn't work out worth a hoot. I got a lot of salt water into my electrical lines, and I ended up having to do a bunch of repairs there at Lock 16. I got held overnight, but I spent about 4 hours that night replacing wiring and replacing joints. And yeah, I was having issues with all my electronics, but that's not going to be an issue again, because I'm not going to have any exposed connections in the next boat. Everything's going to be in waterproof boxes that actually close and lock. I'll have master switches, breakers, and my regular switches in two 5-switch banks on the new boat, and that's going to be a really nice feature. I'll share what I'm going to be using with you with a link. You'll have links on everything I'm talking about today. At least I'll try to. Um, yeah, I've been using the Scepter 12-gallon tanks for a number of years. They've been with me through all of my voyages. They just hold up. I mean, these things have been thousands and thousands of miles. I haven't had a leak. I don't have any issues. I do cut the little environmental rubber tip in here off, and so they don't blow up when it gets, when I say blow up, swell up when it gets hot. Um, and I've gone with some stainless steel switches here that I can turn each fuel tank open, and then I can close it. It's about as simple as can be. When I get through with using one tank, I close it and I open another tank, and it just starts drawing fuel from the next one. It's simple and it works. So it just runs through a fuel line manifold that runs back to the back. Why change things if they work? But in addition, since we're going to have a 140 horsepower motor, we're going to get about half the gas mileage. I'd get around 8 to 10. We're going to get around 4 to 5 with that 140. I'm anticipating. So I am going to have one large 72-gallon tank on the new boat, and then we're going to run 5 of the individual tanks. And I just like the safety of that. And I can see my fuel levels in these tanks, so we'll probably just run the big tank down first, and then we'll draw from the little tanks, and we can know exactly how much range we've got, not counting on electronics. I am not counting on electronics as much as possible. Oh, let's go back here. So I had my chart plotter mounted right here on a little homemade mount, and I know some of y'all guys told me it wasn't going to hold up, and it held up, thousands and thousands of miles. I did the inside passage with it, but just beating it on this trip, and like I took blows hard enough to send me through the seat. It finally broke my mount. I ended up I just put some tie straps on it and taped it, and completed the trip that way. So had to do some field repairs, but the field repairs held and got me in. I've gone and replaced this with a ram mount. I think I'm really going to like it. So you'll see the ram mount on any open John boats I have. On the next boat in the console, we're going to mount the uh, Simrad chart plotter. Love the Simrad chart plotter. They have never failed me. I'm going to stay with Simrad, but we're going to run twin Simrad Go 9s, and they're going to be mounted into the dash so I don't have any exposure of salt water to all the plugs on the back of the Simrad. They'll all be protected. Again, after my experiences last year, I'm going to protect against salt water as much as I can. Moving forward, um, I kept a lot of my supplies in this little box. I know a lot of people say, well, Robert, why didn't you use a big old, more substantial box? Because this got the job done, and it was light, and it worked for me in the Arctic, it worked for me in the Inside Passage, and it worked for me on this trip. I mainly just keep some like spare prop and some first aid kit, and some of my clothing goes in this box. But I have waterproofed the forward compartment here and put a waterproof hatch. Hey Luna, she's out with me today. This waterproof hatch here worked really well. On the next boat, it's going to be large enough. We're going to have twin hatches, one on each side. One will be for Steve and his supplies. One will be for me and my supplies. And we'll keep various odds and ends, toilet paper and paper towels and some longer anchor lines. I keep a sea anchor on board just in case we get in bad weather and lost power, but I try to be ready for everything. Next, how did the Panga bow, the high-rise bow work? Well, let me tell you, this thing works like a champ. I was in those huge seas, and sometimes I was coming off the back of them, and we're talking really short period, steep seas, and I'd nose down those, and this flat area would slow the boat down, and then the high-rise bow would allow it to rise up. I didn't take a single wave over the bow of this boat, and we're going to continue this high-rise bow on the new boat. The only difference is where this one is bolted on with rib nuts, we're going to go ahead and weld it directly to the boat on the next one. I think it's going to look good, and it's going to work well, and it'll be lighter and stronger. It'll be larger, where this one's about 15 inches across the front. We're going to be about 20 inches across the front. And guess what being 20 inches across the front is going to be? Since we're going to be running 24 hours a day on the next trip, we need some badass lights. I'm going to be going with the Black Oak 20-inch curved light bar. It's going to be a combination of spot and flood. And let me tell you, I'm so excited. I'm actually going to work directly with Black Oak Lighting, and I'm going to be able to get y'all some discounts above and over every discount you'll see on the market. I'll share a link with you. All you have to do is go on to Black Oak Lights on the website and put in Ageless Wanderer 25, and you'll get a 25% discount if you use that discount code. God, I sound like one of those YouTubers. Well, I don't want to be those guys, but when I find something that I do a lot of research on, and I looked at all the brands, I looked at Baja and Rigid and all the Amazon brands. There's just nothing that's going to touch the version 3 Pro version of the Black Oak light bars. Guys, they're not cheap, and I've got to have something that I can count on, that I can ram into a tree and not hurt the light. I need something that'll handle impact. I need something that's the brightest light on the market. And as of right this time, maybe Baja or one of those guys is going to come up with something brighter. But right now, Black Oak and their 20-inch curved bar Pro version 3 is the brightest out there, and that's what we're going to go with. The considerations, why not to go to a bigger light bar or something, it's how much my alternator on my motor will safely handle. So did a lot of research, talking to the tech staff at Black Oak and talking to the guys at Daihatsu. And we are going to have plenty of alternator to pull everything that we have going on in the boat, twin chart plotters, and run that 20-inch bar. It's a 41 amp alternator on the 140, and we should be able to pull 30 continuously, but I don't think we're going to have to get anywhere near there. I think we're going to be in the 20-25 range. I will run an anchor lead here just so I can keep my anchor line down the middle. I'll be able to run my anchor line under the light so we can get an anchor out and it can go right to the front. It just helps a lot. I got my Bergie mount. The next one will have a Bergie mount also, because we got to promote the American Great Loop Cruisers Association. This is where I keep my Bergie for them, and they're a great group and a great resource if you ever get a wild hair and want to do the Great Loop. Let's see. You'll notice I use nylon cleats, and I've got lots of them. I've got them all over the boat. These nylon cleats work really well. What I do is I try to bolt them in so I can get a nut on the back side. I just like to have lots of them. This is the main one I use for anchoring. And I'll start here, and then before I turn in for the night, I'll move it to the much stronger cleat right here. And I have cleats everywhere. These are for my fenders when I'm going through the locks and stuff and bumping up against concrete walls. I just drop a fender off of my cleats here. Let's see. You can see this, possibly this piece of 2x4 here. That is there as a dam. So when I get in stormy conditions, I would put up a full tent over the boat, and water could hit this forward deck and run off. And I didn't want it running under my sleeping pad or into my sleeping area. So this dam right here is waterproof, and I have it run to the side where the rain can be taken to the lower hull below the floor and not get me wet in that area. Let's see, coming forward, we talked about the tanks. But hopefully that'll give you some insight. If you have questions, I would be glad to respond to them, because there's a lot of preparation that goes into this type of stuff, and I know a lot of you guys may not be doing the Great Loop, but you really want to set up a boat well that's going to be that's going to hold up well for you, and I'd be happy to work with you, because getting out on the water, maybe taking your family or friends fishing or towing the tube behind the boat is what I'm all about. Let's say let's get out there and share the joy, and I will try to be more regular with these videos. I have a whole lot of stuff to share, and we'll be seeing you soon.